Sneeples, we have the recap of the last day of spoilers for Bright Lights. This is it, the last day of all the spoilers. Let's go. Okay, from the first set of spoilers is from Nathan Eastwood. He has a trio of spoilers, red, yellow, and blue, each being a different card. So let's go over the red. Overload script, red pitch, zero cost, mechanologist item. I expect we're going to see a lot of items today as it is the last day of spoiler, and we saw a lot of spoilers cards for Tech of Awesome on Friday, Max Nitro on Saturday, Sunday, Dash. So let's get some items. Overload script, zero cost, mechanologist item, crank. If this enters the battlefield, or if this enters the arena with a steam counter at the start of your turn, destroy it unless you remove a steam counter from it. Your mechanologist attack action cards get overpower. So something that's pretty cool, something that you can maybe bring in with dash on your opponent's turns. You get 2 turns of your attacks having overpower, which is pretty legit. Or at the very least, you can get 1 good turn with it as well, whether playing at the end or using the crank mechanic to get it immediately. I like this card. This card's pretty legit, I think. All right, the yellow version, microhertz script, or MHC script. I don't know if it stands for microhertz here, but yellow pitch, zero cost, mechanologist item, crank. Enters the arena with a steam counter at the start of your turn, destroy unless you remove steam counter, and your mechanologist attacks have go again. This one's pretty interesting because this basically means you don't have to boost in order to keep the combat chain moving. And this does say mechanologist attack action card, so this does not affect your weapon either, which would have been pretty nice if it was your weapon. I would really hold this as a really good card, but this only does mechanologist attack action cards. It's interesting. It helps with not fatiguing yourself, I suppose. And then finally, the blue version, blue pitch, zero cost, mechanologist item, auto save script. This has crank, enters battlefield steam counter, destroy it if you can't remove steam counter at the beginning of your turn, and then your mechanologist attack action cards have, when this hits, put it on the bottom of the owner's deck. So another way to combat fatigue, to allow you to keep having cards in the future. This is pretty good. I like this one quite a bit. I think this one is a good draft card to have. All right, next up we get from Pheno, that is Pheno Black, we have Stasis Cell. This is a majestic blue pitch, zero cost item. When this enters or leaves the arena, activated abilities of target equipment can't be activated until the end of its controller's next turn. And it has action, put this on the bottom of its owner's deck. Choosing equipment, it can't defend this turn, go again. Okay, so this card's actually really, really good. Particularly when you're going against a opponent that will be using their equipment to the fullest extent. The most obvious one is Tech of Awesome, but there is other equipments out there that you'll see from other type of heroes, maybe like a Dorinthia or Bolton using the Courage of Bladehold or the Brave Forge Bracers, that sort of stuff. This hits any equipment, so this is kind of cool. I think this can see a lot of versatility, and I think this is a great sideboard piece for mechanologist heroes. So I think this card's actually pretty damn good. Now in draft, I think you probably still do it, but is it as good? It's okay. I think it's okay. It's still blue pitch, just doesn't block is all. But yeah, a very cool card. I like that even as the action, you can choose for equipment not to block, and you can have another equipment not be activated. So that's kind of cool. All right, next up from Tannen Grace, we have Steam Canister. This is a rare mechanologist item, blue pitch, zero cost. So we probably expect to see this in yellow and red as well. Instant, put this on the bottom of his owner's deck, put a steam counter on an item you control with crank. So here again, an item that goes on the bottom, so you can kind of keep things moving, and just kind of puts your crank cards, lets them stay around 1 more turn. So I kind of like that. That's kind of cool. I do like this card. It's pretty nice. I'm curious if the new Dash, as she does work with items like this quite often, if this is something that could help her become pretty relevant outside of limited. Okay, From Umotivo, we have Infused Alloy. This is a common. This is a red pitch common that we have here. 0 cost, 4 attack, 2 block. Has Galvanize. When this defends, you may destroy an item you control. If you do, it gets +2 defense. So this is possibly a 0 for 4 defense card here. And you do have to destroy an item in order to do that. Not so bad if you plan on, if that item is going to go away anyways. It's okay. It's okay. It is a common, so you probably expect to see the yellow come in for 3 and the blue come in for 2. All right. Next up, from the card advantage, we have Medkit, a rare card that is a mechanist item. Is blue pitch, is 0 cost. And you put this on the bottom of your own deck and you gained 2 life. So the yellow pitch might be 3 life, the red pitch might be 4 life. I don't know if these items are going to see rainbow, but if they do, that's kind of what we expect. Otherwise, if it is just blue pitch, this is still a pretty damn good card. Just a way to gain life, and especially if you're playing Dash, a way to just bring it out for 1 resource, and then at any point, probably at the end of your turn, when you still have an action point, you just use this, gain 2 life, and then recycle. I kind of like it. All right, and then from Tyler Luce, we just had him on a podcast, so go check that out. Guy behind FabCube, we have Dissolving Shield. This is another mechanist item. It is an item filled day for sure. This is a common. This is a red pitch that is a 0 cost. It has Crank, and this enters the battlefield with 3 steam counters on it. At the start of your turn, destroy unless you remove a steam counter from it. Instant, remove a steam counter from this. Prevent the next 1 damage that be dealt to you this turn that has no steam counter on it. Destroy. Okay, so this being a common, I would imagine we get a yellow and a blue. The yellow probably comes with 2 steam counters and the blue with 1. This is kind of cool. This is kind of a way to just kind of prevent some damage. You can do this at instant speed, so you can prevent up to 3 damage in 1 turn, as it can just keep stacking, it would seem, as long as you have steam counters to remove. So I think this card is pretty legit. I'm always worried with items. You don't want to have too many items because you do want to be able to block. I think with Dash, it's going to be pretty tricky on navigating which items are worth having. And this one might fall a little short, but I could see it, coming in handy. And this is one of the few ways you can prevent some damage. That there's a lot of unblockable damage in this draft set, particularly. So this is one of the ways you can actually prevent it. So in that case, it might be better. All right, from Bagel TCG, they have 2 cards. The first one is Expedite. This is a common. It comes in for 3, blocks for 3, as on the red pitch, I should say. It is a common. The red pitch costs 0, attacks for 3, blocks for 3, has boost. When this hits, you may put an item with cost 0 or 1 from your hand into the arena. That's really good. A 0 for 3 with boost that has an on hit effect. Not too shabby. It is a very blockable card, but still not bad. Even the yellow and blue wouldn't be too bad, just because they are kind of demanding a block. Otherwise, you'll get a free item card out, and that's whether or not you boost. As long as you hit, you get to do it. So that's kind of nice. So yeah, yellow probably coming for 2, blue coming for 1. And then the next card is Met X. This is very similar, and that's why he got them both. It's Mechanist attack action. That's a common. The red pitch costs 1, comes in for 4, blocks for 3, and has the same ability. Boost. When this hits, you may put an item 0 1 from your hand into the arena. Now this one is a little bit better, only because the red version provides a breakpoint where you'll have to block with 2 cards in order to prevent Met X from hitting, which can be pretty legit, especially when you're attacking with Met X. You still have 1 card in hand, and now the question is, do I need to block that in order to prevent you from playing that item? Is an item in your hand? Who knows? Med-X allows for that to be a scenario. So I like Med-X a little bit here. I actually think, especially if you're planning to play Dash, In limited, I think Mad X would be pretty good. Outside of limited, it could see it play. I could even see Expedite see play outside. We'll see. I have a lot of questions on New Dash. Next up from the card guys, we have Steel Street Hoons. That's quite a name. This is a majestic. This is a blue pitch, 3 cost, 3 attack, and 2 block. It has boost. This is Mechanologist attack action. It has boost. If an item you control has been destroyed this turn, it gets +2. So then it becomes a 3 for 5 with boost. And it has Galvanize. When this defends, you may destroy an item you control. If you do, it gains +2 defense. So has a lot of versatility. Allows you to potentially have a blue pitch block 4, which is obviously very good. But as well as have a late game 3 for 5 with Go Again, which isn't the worst, honestly. So I think this card's actually pretty legit. I think this card is like pretty damn good to play outside of limited, and even in limited. I think we're going to see this card get played in multiple Mechanologist heroes because I think overall it's just a good card. Alright, next up from Polygon, we have another equipment line. This is the Evos Circuit Breaker. This is the headpiece. This is a Mechanologist instant equipment, which means you can play instant speed, which is pretty interesting. It is a majestic. It is a red pitch that costs 0 and blocks for 0. And it doesn't have Blade Break. It doesn't have Battle Worn or Temper or anything like that. So it can always keep blocking for 0. But let's read what it does. If you have a base head equipped, transform it and X hyperdrivers you control into this. Then equip this. If you do, the next time you'd be dealt damage this turn, prevent X of that damage. Which basically means that because this is an instant speed, you can instant speed equip this and prevent however much damage you want from however many hyperdrivers you put underneath this. So if you have 2 hyperdrivers, you can prevent 4 damage that turn for free, for 0, right? It'll cost a card in your hand, you put that out there, put those hyperdrivers out underneath it, and then you can prevent up to 4 damage, however many hyperdrivers you have, twice that many, right? And then it has, whenever you boost, you may destroy a card underneath it. So you can destroy one of those hyperdrivers or your base equipment. If you do, shuffle 2 attack action cards from your banish zone into your deck. So kind of a way to fight fatigue. But this is a very interesting equipment because it's an equipment that can you can play instant speed, but also can only block 1 turn kind of. So. Which is kind of what Blade Break is, but it also has abilities after that when you start boosting. So actually this is better than your just Blade Break type equipment. Evo Atom Breaker, same deal. This is the chest piece. And this has whenever you boost, you may destroy a card underneath this. If you do, gain 2 resources. That's pretty legit. That's actually really good. When you're coming in for a 0 cost boost card and then you gain 2 resources from it, that's not bad. That's not bad at all. Evo Mock Breaker, the legs. When you boost, you destroy a card underneath it. You gain a Quicken token. This can be very good, as Quicken token works with boost cards to give you basically 2 action points. Quicken giving the Go Again. It also gives Go Again to your weapon, and then boost gives you an action point. So it's not like you get 2 double Go Again. Instead, you get a Go Again and an additional action point. So that's how you get 2 action points, which can be good to play 2 items or attack with your weapon with Go Again, that sort of deal. And then finally, the arms is Evo Space Breaker. When you boost, you may destroy a card underneath this. If you do, the attack gets +2. That's pretty good too. So a very, very interesting Evos equipment set, but very good if you have a lot of hyperdrivers and just want to keep you able to block some damage on the first turn. That's pretty nice, and then keep getting some effects. However, you do lose the block, so it's a little bit of a trade-off there. All right, let's move on. From Mansant, we have Grinding Gears. This is another Mechanologist item. This is a majestic, so it's only going to be a blue pitch, and it will cost 0. It has Crank, and this enters the arena with a steam counter on it. Start a turn, destroy it unless you remove a steam counter. Action, pay 0. Target hero destroys the top card of their deck. Okay, so this one's pretty damn interesting in my eyes. Overall, I think this is a bad card. But it's interesting because it kind of reminds me a little bit about like Arachne, where you can alter the top card of your opponent's deck. Now, sometimes that has a very good meaning, particularly if you are Dash and you don't like the top card of your deck, you can destroy your own card so that you can draw it or like play it instant speed with her ability. Or if you just notice that maybe outside of limited, they fate foreseen, they kept their card on top, and you're like, all right, fuck it, destroy that card. I don't know. This card seems okay. It's interesting. I wonder if there is going to be some interactions that like kind of keep this going, and there's sort of becomes a mill deck from it. I'm not sure. Really not sure on that. But it's interesting. All right, next up from Breezy, another friend of the podcast, we have Infused Titanium. This is a Mechanologist 3 for 7. So it's an attack action, it's a common. And the red pitch is a 3 cost, 7 attack, 2 block. Has Galvanize. When this defends, you may destroy an item. If you do, it gets +2. So it could be a 4 block or it could be a 7 attack, depending on what you want to do with it. It could just also be a 2 block if you have no other items. Overall, I'm really into this card. This is going to be our first time we get a yellow pitch 6 power card for Mechanologist. So a yellow pitch card that could be a popper, as well as just a decent blocker. I don't know. I'm kind of feeling this card, especially for limited. I really like this card. Outside of limited, maybe we'll see the yellow as a popper. I could see that, but I don't really see playing past that. But I really am feeling this card. I actually kind of like it. All right, next up from Go Again Gaming, we have Soup Up. This is a Mechanologist attack action. It is a rare. The red version is a 0 cost 4 attack 2 block. When an item you control has been destroyed, this gets Go Again. And it has Galvanize, which as we know by now, you can destroy an item and it can have an additional block value. Now, I actually think this might, I'm starting to see there's a lot of Galvanize. This might be way of the new Dash to have a chance to block better, as she will have she'll have more item cards, which is less blocking cards. So this might be her chance to actually be able to block better. Either way, this is a 0 for 4 that has a chance to have Go Again if one of your cards were either galvanized or if there was removed the last counter from it, whatever. I think this card is actually pretty good. If you are a Dash deck, especially limited, and you're basically having some crank cards out and getting cards destroyed every turn, this is a 0 for 4 Go Again, and that's really legit. So gotta like that. Doesn't even need the boost. Doesn't even have it. So, all right. Next up, from the Techlo Foundry, we have another set of armor. First, we have Evo Cog Spitter. So, a yellow pitch, 0 cost that blocks for 2. This one has Blade Break. This one shows that it has Blade Break. Of course, you have to have a base arm equipped to transform it. And once per turn instant, destroy a card under this, put an item with cost 0 or 1 from your hand into the arena. And it has Blade Break. So it doesn't put any cards underneath other than the base equipment, but there is other cards that can go underneath. But otherwise, if you don't have another card underneath, you can destroy your base equipment and you can put an item into the battlefield. This is at instant speed, so that might be pretty legit if it means that item can help on your next turn to win the game. So it has Blade Break, so it's only 2 block for Blade Break. Not bad. All right, let's go on to the headpiece here, which is Evo Data Mine. All the same stuff. Blade Break, 2 blocks, yellow pitch, 0 cost. Destroy a card under this, draw a card, then put a card from your hand on top of your deck. So you basically get to, kind of cycle 1 card. Again, can be pretty legit, especially if you're trying to go for the kill at the very end. And then we have the legs. which you can destroy a card underneath this to create a quicken token, which can be pretty good too. To even when you have a quicken token, and you have boost, boosting gives you an action point, quicken gives you go again. So you will get 2 action points, which means you can play an item out and then do something, or even play another item. So quicken is pretty legit here, especially when you're looking at the likes of playing dash or playing a lot of items. And then finally, with the chess piece, we have Evo Battery Pack. Once per turn instant, destroy a card underneath it. Put a steam counter on an item you control with Crank. So probably the weakest of them all. But having that steam counter could mean that you get that item one more turn, right? And that might be what you need. Okay. Next up, from Alpha Investments, from Rudy himself, we get System Reset. We have seen this art. Now we get to see the card behind it. This is a Majestic. This is a Yellow Pitch Majestic that has X in its cost. It is a Mechanologist action, so it has no attack. It only blocks for 3. And it says banish X Mechanologist items you control with cost 0 or 1, then return them to the arena under their owner's control. So basically it allows you to restart these equipments, hence the name System Reset. So they get to come in with their steam counters, they get to come in without having to be destroyed next turn if they didn't have steam counters. I think you're really getting your value if you're paying maybe 1, 2 into this, but probably 2 so you really want to do it. This is an action that does not have go again, so it's probably pretty hard to play. If you can attack and then do this afterwards, okay, but it's probably a pretty hard card to play. All right, but we can see data though on there, and that's kind of cool. Alrighty, next up from Kugani, we have a Fuel Injector. Another Mechanologist item. This one's a rare, so we'll probably see this in blue, red, and yellow. The blue version costs 0 and has instant. Put this on the bottom of owner's deck, gain 1 resource, which means that the red version, if it is rainbow, who knows? It might not be rainbow, honestly, with these items. It might not. But the red version would give you 3 resources. So pretty cool card. This is especially good if you can play it with dash as an instant speed on their turn, so you can have this for your own turn. I don't know. I don't mind this card. All right. Next up, from Fab Rec, another trio of card with red, yellow, and blue, all having different names. So let's look at it. Backup Protocol Red, Red Pitch, 0 cost Mechanologist item. Common, it has Crank, enters the battlefield with a steam counter on it, start turn, destroy it unless you remove 1. And just a reminder, Crank, you can choose to have it with 1 less steam counter, and if you do, you gain an action point. Anyways, instant, pay to destroy this, return a red Mechanologist attack action card from your graveyard to your hand. Hence the name Backup Protocol Red. So as you can imagine, Backup Protocol Yellow is all the same stat lines except return a yellow Mechanologist card, and then Backup Protocol Blue. Now this is kind of just okay. The fact that you have to pay 2 as well as play it, puts it in your hand at the very least, but I'm not huge in these cards, I'm going to be honest. I don't think they're going to be worth playing. Alright, next up, by Spell Void, we have Torqued Tuned. This is a rare. This is a Mechanologist attack action. The red version costs 2, comes in for 6, and blocks for 2. Has Galvanize, so it could also block for 4. And it has, if an item you control has been destroyed this turn, this gets Overpower. So I think this is going to be great in draft. I think this is exactly what you want to see in draft. This is definitely, could be considered as a popper, but at this point, Mechanologists have so many poppers, I don't think this would make the cut. However, the Galvanize might give it a little bit of an edge. I think that option to be able to block from 4 is pretty legit. But I like this in draft quite a bit. I think this is a great card. Alright, next up from the Wraith Times, we have another trio of cards, each one having their own color. The red is is called Polarity Reversal Script. It costs 1. It is a rare mechanologist item. Has crank. Enters with only 1 steam counter. Destroy unless you remove it at the beginning of turn. And then action cards get -1 defense while defending your mechanologist attack action cards. And that's just a static effect that just stays out there. I think that's really, really, really good. Something that can stay out for 2 turns if you dashed it in at the end of your opponent's turn. This can be awesome. So I'm all about it. I think this is really good. Allows you to chip in more damage and pressure your opponent. This could be a tide changing game or a card. All right, the yellow is Penetration Script. Costs 1 item, crank, only comes in 1 steam counter, and then this one says your mechanologist attack action cards get +1. So this is very good too. This is kind of the same deal, right? It's just instead of -1 to their defense, this is +1 to your attacks. So very, very good. And then finally, the blue Security Script, same cost, 1, same crank, same number steam counter, and this one says your mechanologist attack action cards get +1 defense. So this one's a little bit more on the defensive line, but honestly still pretty damn good. So I like all these cards. I think these are all great cards. They are rare, so we're not going to see them as much, but I think they're great cards in limited. And maybe it depends on how good Dash can be into Blitz and Classic Constructed. Maybe I could see these cards getting played into that. Next up from the Fab Workshop, we have Quantum Processor. This is a majestic yellow pitch mechanologist item. It costs 1. It has crank. It comes in with 1 steam counter, and it has once per turn, pay 0. Put a mechanologist item which costs 0 or 1 from your hand into the arena, and that's on instant. So I think this is pretty damn good. This is a once per turn instance, so you can do this on your opponent's turn and your turn. I like this card. I think this card's pretty legit. I think you would see this card even outside of limited. Next up, we have from Spark of Genius Prismatic Lens. This is another majestic yellow pitch that costs 1 mechanologist item. Has crank. It starts with 1 steam counter, and it says once per turn instant, pay 0. Reveal the top card of your deck. Put a mechanologist item with the same color from your banish zone on top of your deck. So basically, you pay 0, reveal the top card. It's like, oh, this is a blue item. Or a blue card. I'm going to put a blue item on top, and then if you're Dash, you play that blue item. So it really works out very well. I think it's a way to allow you to recycle old item cards, and for that reason I like this card. I can see this outside of limited all the same. From Tariq Patel, we have Twin Drive. Now this one's very cool and interesting. Let's get into it. This is a mechanologist attack action card. This is a red pitch that costs 2, comes in for 5, and blocks for 3. And most importantly, it has boost. Oh, but it also has boost again. So it has boost twice. And I love that they have the reminder text for boost twice as well. But anyhow, so boosting twice. Now you might be wondering, why? Well, there's a couple reasons. One, maybe you miss with your first boost. This allows you to keep going. However, more likely the biggest reason is having 2 boosts helps with certain cards that require you to boost X amount of times during the combat chain or during the turn. This counts for 2. So one thing you can immediately think of is maximum velocity. That requires you to boost 3 times per turn in order to be able to play it. Well, if you play this card, you already done 2 of the boosting. You just need to boost 1 more time, and then you can play maximum velocity. So this card, I think we are going to see in the old Dash or in the new Dash, and we're just going to see this card, I think, especially in CC. Okay, next up from this person, we have Data Link. This is a common. This is a 0 cost mechanologist attack action that is red pitch, comes in for 3, blocks for 3, has boost when this hits, opt 1. This is just a solid card. This is going to be in red, yellow, and blue. And honestly, this is just such a solid card. I think this is right in the middle of the pack. I think this is a great card to draft in the mid to late rounds. This is going to do what you want it to. Opting is great, and then having just a free card to boost with is also pretty good. Also, the art's kind of cool on it. I really genuinely like the art. Okay, and then she also got Dive Drew Data, another common. This one is a red pitch that costs 1, comes in for 4, blocks for 3, and has boost. When this hits, opt 1. So even this has pretty good numbers here, especially like the red. The yellow's okay, and the blue's kind of meh. But being able to opt and have go again and come in for 4 just for 1, that's pretty good. I think we take those. Okay, next up from Tomo Happy, we have the Evos Century base head. So we also have some other ones here. So the base head has it where if it's equipped, transform it, or if you have a base head equipment, transform it. And this just has Battle Worn, and that's all there is to it. It costs 2, it's a red pitch, and it blocks for 2 with Battle Worn. And Battle Worn's a great ability because Battle Worn never goes away. So I say it's a great ability, but it could be a little bit mixed here, because the reason is with Blade Break, your equipment will break off and then you can put another equipment on after the fact. However, with this one, this is Battle Worn. However, what makes this really cool is that it's still a base. And because of that, it actually is much better than anything else. This is kind of like the intermediate from the final evolution of your EVOS equipment. So I really like that this is just a better EVOS base set. And that's what's really cool about it. So the head, and the chest and the legs and the arms, they're all the same. They all have Battle Worn 2. And it's pretty legit. They all cost 2. They're all red pitches, but I'm actually pretty happy about them. It's a really cool card. It's a really, really, really cool card. So very happy about that. And then we have from Max Ferocity, the one that has given us the new Dash, has now finally shown us the adult version, Dash IO. Not sure what that means. I'm kind of a boomer. I don't know technology all the time, but obviously has the same effect as the young version here, and we just get to see the art in the full form, and that's kind of fun. But however, we do get a new card, and that is Symbiosis Shot. So this is the Dash weapon here. This is a Dash specialization. Has the action remove a steam counter from it, attack, and then whenever a mechanist item enters the arena under my control, or under your control I should say, if it has fewer than 6 steam counters, you may put a steam counter on it. So in order to be able to attack with this weapon, you have to have items come in, then steam counters go on, and you can keep shooting. Now what's pretty important to show here is that this is a gun. This is not a pistol. So you cannot play induction chamber and plasma purifier with this. You can play, stuff that works with guns, which is the only thing I could think of is powder keg that came out in Dynasty. That will work, but the induction chamber and plasma purifier were not. So she has upgraded into a gun. Now, just as we're talking here, we finally got the last spoiler, but I didn't mention one from Saturday. It kind of came in late, so I'll mention it now. From We Make Best, we have Mini Force Field. Again, this came in Saturday, so sorry if you're seeing this again. This is a mechanist item. It is a red pitch. It is a common. The red pitch costs 1. Comes in crank. Comes in with 4 steam counters, so probably yellow with 3, blue with 2. And it has Ward X, where X is the number of steam counters on it. And Ward is just when you would take damage, you can prevent that much damage. And that's any sort of damage, physical or not. So this is kind of a 1-for-4 block, which is kind of okay. However, if you're Dash, this is a 1-for-4 block that can block an Aether Wildfire, right? So that's kind of, I think, really where it's going to be used. is it'll probably get used a little bit more in CC, but even then it's a little bit too niche, possibly. Who knows? Okay, let's go look at this last spoiler. Okay, so we get another group of EVOS equipment. This is the EVOS Zoom call. So this is the headpiece for it. If you have a base head equipment, transform it into this. And then when this is equipped, you may banish a card from your hand if you do draw a card. It is a yellow pitch, it costs 0, and it blocks for 0. So it doesn't actually block. But what it does do is it allows you to draw a card, so it kind of replaces itself. There's no way to get rid of it. It doesn't have Blade Break, it doesn't have Battle Worn or Temper or anything, so there's no way to get rid of this card right off the bat. The chest piece is called Evo Buzzhigh, same stat lines. This one says when you equip, you gain 1 resource. Okay. Don't know if it's really worth that because you could just pitch this for 2 resources. The arm piece is Evo's Whiz Bang. When you equip it, up to 1 target attack is +1. Okay, these are all commons, by the way. And then Zip Line for the legs. When this is equipped, up to 1 target attack gets Go Get. Now that one's okay, right? Honestly, they're common, so you wouldn't expect too much out of them. But yeah, they're kind of just okay. It's interesting to see another equipment line come down. Okay, that is all. That was literally the last one we needed. I'm so glad it came right at the end too. That is all. That is all the spoilers that have been scheduled to come out. There is still cards out there, including some legendaries, but we just don't know them yet. We're gonna have a few unboxing videos coming out. Maybe they'll get one. Who knows? But the best way to find them is going to the pre-release. Go to this pre-release. It's so much fun. It's gonna be, mechanologists all day long. I'm excited. I'm gonna hopefully go to 2 or 3 of them. I would suggest doing the same. They're so much fun. But hey guys, thanks for watching. I appreciate that. We do have draft videos coming out. We do have shuffle and play videos coming out. We have sealed videos coming out. We're gonna be pumping away this weekend, so gotta stick with us for that. But until then, keep on fatting.